Welcome to News Beacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. When you think of Donald Trump, you think of a man who claims he can fix anything: economy, borders, trade deals. For years, he's built his brand on the promise of being the ultimate deal maker, the one who can walk into any room and come out with a solution. Whether it's negotiating with world leaders or tackling domestic issues, Trump has always projected an image of unwavering confidence and control. But recently, Trump admitted there are problems he can't solve alone. In a rare moment of candor, he acknowledged that some challenges are simply too big for one person, even a president, to handle by themselves. This admission marks a significant shift from his usual rhetoric, where he often insists that no problem is too great for him to tackle. For someone who's always projected absolute strength, saying, "I can't fix it," is a big deal. It's a departure from the bravado that has defined his public persona. This moment of vulnerability, whether calculated or genuine, stands out in a career built on projecting certainty and dominance. Is this a rare moment of honesty or a sign of weakness? Some see it as a refreshing dose of realism from a leader often accused of overpromising. Others interpret it as a crack in the armor, a sign that the man who promised to make America great again is finally facing the limits of his own power. For his supporters, his confidence has always been their confidence. They've rallied behind his bold claims and believed in his ability to deliver on even the most ambitious promises. His self-assurance has been a source of hope and motivation for millions. So what happens when that wavers? When the man they look to for answers admits he doesn't have all of them, it can create uncertainty and doubt. Some may feel betrayed, while others might appreciate the honesty. The reaction among his base is mixed, with some doubling down on their support and others beginning to question. Critics see this as proof his promises were always bigger than his abilities. They argue that this admission validates their long-held suspicions that Trump's confidence sometimes outpaces his capacity to deliver. For them, it's a moment of vindication. No matter your view, this is a turning point, a crack in the image of the ultimate problem solver. It forces both supporters and critics to reevaluate what they expect from a leader and what it really means to lead in times of crisis. If he can't fix everything, what can he fix? What are the limits of presidential power, and where does personal leadership end and collective action begin? These are questions that go beyond Trump and touch on the very nature of American democracy. And what will he do about the rest? Will he seek help, delegate, or double down on his own approach? The path he chooses next could define not just his legacy, but the direction of the country. This isn't just about Trump's words. It's about the future of American leadership. It's about how we respond when our leaders admit their limitations, and how we as a nation move forward together in the face of uncertainty. How do we tackle the massive challenges facing our country and the world? From economic uncertainty to global conflicts, these problems require more than just one person's solutions. They demand collective effort, resilience, and a willingness to adapt. This moment forces us to reconsider what we expect from our leaders. Do we want someone who claims to have all the answers, or someone who's willing to admit when they need help? The answer may shape the future of our democracy. The real story is just beginning. As the nation watches and waits, the next chapter in American leadership is about to unfold. To understand Trump's shift in foreign policy, we first need to take a closer look at the ongoing war in Ukraine, a conflict that has captured the world's attention and reshaped global politics. In early 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, sending troops and tanks across the border. The Kremlin's goal was to assert control over Ukraine's future, prevent it from joining Western alliances like NATO, and reassert Russian influence in the region. But Ukraine did not surrender. Instead, Ukrainian soldiers and ordinary citizens rallied together, defending their cities and towns with remarkable determination. Volunteers joined the fight, and communities came together to support the troops, showing a powerful spirit of resistance. The United States and European countries responded by sending billions of dollars in military aid, humanitarian supplies, and advanced weapons. This support has been crucial in helping Ukraine hold the line against Russian advances, and it has turned the conflict into a major international issue. The war has dragged on for over 2 years, leaving cities in ruins, displacing millions of people, and causing immense suffering. Despite heavy losses on both sides, there is still no clear end in sight, and the fighting continues day after day. Former President Donald Trump has weighed in, claiming he could end the fighting quickly, perhaps even within 24 hours if he were in charge. He says his approach would be different from current leaders. Trump argues that America is spending too much money on the war, and that sending more weapons only prolongs the conflict. He believes that endless support drains U.S. resources and distracts from problems at home. Instead of more weapons, Trump calls for immediate negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, even if it means making tough compromises. He says a deal, even an imperfect one, is better than endless bloodshed. However, many world leaders strongly disagree. They warn that stopping support for Ukraine would hand Russia a victory, encourage future aggression, and set a dangerous precedent for the world. Trump, on the other hand, sees a costly, endless war that is hurting both Ukraine and the United States. He wants to bring the conflict to an end, even if it means making difficult choices. This is the heart of the debate in America today. Should the U.S. keep supporting Ukraine with money and weapons, or should it push for a negotiated settlement, even if that means Ukraine has to give up something? It's a deep divide in how American leaders and citizens see the country's role in the world, whether to stand firm against aggression or to prioritize peace and stability, even at a cost. The world is watching closely to see which path America will choose, knowing that the decision will shape not just Ukraine's future, but the future of global security and democracy. Why do some agree with Trump's call to end the war? For many, it's about the human cost: lives lost, cities destroyed, families shattered. They question if prolonging the war is worth it and see peace talks as the fastest way to stop the suffering. There's frustration over billions spent abroad while problems at home go unsolved. Supporters believe America should focus on its own needs first. They argue that endless war without a clear path to victory is irresponsible. For them, negotiation isn't weakness, it's common sense. In recent months, former President Donald Trump hasn't just criticized the ongoing war in Ukraine. He's also taken direct aim at Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump's comments have gone beyond policy disagreements, focusing on Zelensky as a leader and questioning his motives and legitimacy on the world stage. Trump repeatedly claims that Zelensky is intentionally prolonging the conflict for his own benefit, suggesting that the billions in military aid sent from the United States and its allies have become what he calls a gravy train for Ukraine's leadership. He argues that this aid is not just about defending Ukraine, but is also enriching those in power. Trump often questions Zelensky's qualifications, highlighting his background as a comedian before entering politics. He points to the suspension of elections during wartime as evidence of weak democratic values, and suggests that Zelensky's leadership is untested and possibly untrustworthy in such a critical moment for Ukraine. By attacking Zelensky's credibility and casting doubt on his intentions, Trump is attempting to undermine the moral case for continued American support of Ukraine. He frames Zelensky not as a courageous wartime leader, but as someone who may be taking advantage of the crisis. Trump argues that America shouldn't be spending billions of taxpayer dollars to defend a leader who, in his view, isn't upholding democratic principles by not holding elections. He uses this point to question whether U.S. interests are truly being served. This approach allows Trump to position himself as the only candidate capable of negotiating a swift and favorable peace deal, suggesting that his leadership would bring an end to the conflict much faster than current strategies. He tells his supporters that if they want the war to end quickly, they need him back in charge, promising that he alone has the skills and leverage to broker peace between Russia and Ukraine. Trump's criticism stands in stark contrast to the Western narrative, which often portrays Zelensky as a heroic defender of democracy and a symbol of resistance against Russian aggression. As a result, the debate over Ukraine's leadership and America's role in the conflict has become a central issue in U.S. politics, reflecting deeper divisions over foreign policy, democracy, and the future of American global leadership. Trump's words have rattled Europe and Ukraine. European leaders like Germany's Chancellor Scholz defend Zelensky, noting Ukraine can't hold elections under martial law. They see Trump's criticism as divisive and dangerous for the alliance. Zelensky warns that cracks in Western unity benefit Russia. Ukraine's future depends on U.S. support, and Trump's rhetoric creates real fear. The possibility of losing American aid is terrifying for Ukrainians fighting for survival. European leaders now face uncertainty. Will they be left to face Russia alone? The international coalition supporting Ukraine is fragile. When a powerful voice like Trump's questions that support, it shakes the alliance. The world is watching, knowing the outcome will shape global security. Trump isn't just focused on foreign policy, he's targeting American culture too. He's criticized the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, calling its shows woke and terrible. Trump wants to overhaul its leadership, replacing the board with loyalists like Richard Grenell. This is a dramatic move. Presidents rarely interfere in cultural institutions. The Kennedy Center, which receives federal funding, has always valued artistic independence. Now, officials are anxious and uncertain about what comes next. Trump says the center should focus on patriotic art, even though he's never attended a show. This raises big questions. Who decides what is American art? The culture wars have reached a new front. Trump's plan for the Kennedy Center has alarmed the arts community. Artists fear government control will stifle creativity and free expression. Appointing Grenell, a political loyalist with no arts experience, signals a push for a political agenda. The worry is, the center could become a platform for propaganda, not world-class art. If the government can dictate art here, what's to stop it elsewhere? Museums, theaters, libraries? For artists, this is a fight for the soul of American culture. They see Trump's move as a threat to artistic freedom and democracy itself. What does all this mean for America? Trump's positions force a debate about our values, war and peace, alliances, and freedom of expression. His approach could reshape America's role in the world, making alliances less certain and foreign policy more transactional. The Kennedy Center fight raises questions about government control over culture. These issues go to the heart of who we are as a nation. The choices we make now will shape America's future for generations. It's a time of uncertainty and a test of our democracy. The stakes have never been higher. When America debates its future, the world pays attention. Trump's talk of pulling back from global conflicts makes allies nervous and adversaries bold. If the U.S. withdraws support from Ukraine, Europe faces a more aggressive Russia alone. China and others watch to see if America's commitments are weakening. The Kennedy Center fight signals to the world how we treat freedom of expression. If government interferes with art, it undermines our moral authority abroad. These debates about war, peace, and culture are all connected. America is trying to define its identity in a changing world. The choices we make will shape not just our future, but the world's. Billions are watching to see which path we choose. The responsibility is enormous, and the world is waiting.